Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Unpopular Opinion Podcast. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone who watched the last podcast and our good friend Douglas Fender for providing us with these new microphones.
Now you can be able to hear me without sounding like, like me and Louis were sharing a microphone in between. So
hopefully we'll have much better sound this episode.
Realistically, I don't need a microphone, but it's good to help to have one. So now you can actually hear my luscious leaf tones coming to you now from either the internet or right now. But no, yeah, thanks for all your support. We're going to be doing more episodes. And today, we're going to start with a rather controversial topic.
Game of Thrones Season 8. It's had Before I get into this, I will say there will be spoilers in this episode if you're one of the 4 people who haven't watched all of Game of Thrones yet, so look out for that. Season 8 has had let's say a mixed response, to put it nicely. Let's go over our history with Game of Thrones before we get into this. So I was a big fan of Game of Thrones, I think around when Season 4 came out, so 2015 or so.
Yeah, I was roughly around about the same time as well, because Doug told me about Game of Thrones at the time, and he showed me an episode of The Hound starting a fight over chicken. And I just went, I need to watch this show.
Yeah.
And then I started watching it. I'm just like, this is incredible. Then I realised it's based on a series of books, and I've never read the books before, and I was really impressed by it. So I just thought, yeah, this is something I would like to check out. So I started watching it, and I became a fan overnight and just loved it.
Yeah, so I was the same. First 4 seasons, I absolutely loved them. I loved how the show looked. I loved the music. I loved being introduced to all these cool new characters. I loved all the plotting and characters trying to stab each other in the back.
I loved the structure of it as well. Like it all flowed so perfectly together. Like it was clockwork. It was so well organized.
You could tell that the writing in the book was just tight.
Oh yeah,
it was so good. So anyway, and I don't know if you share this opinion, but for me, it was around season 5, season 6. Things started to get a little bit strange. The writing wasn't quite as tight. I still think season 5, 6, and 7 are good seasons. Very entertaining. Obviously not on the level of season 8, but it was around when, spoilers, Jon Snow dies and comes back. That's for me when everything started to go downhill. That's when things started to get forced and it felt very Hollywood. I think that was the beginning of the end for me. I don't know if you feel the same.
Well, it was a bit of a contrast because you're just kind of like, okay, you've just shocked everybody by showing us the death of possibly the only character that we mainly supported as the hero. Yeah. And we're like, oh man, where's it going to go from here? And then they brought him back. Yeah. And you're kind of like...
The thing is, as well, they bring him back. You look at the books, they bring Ned Stark's wife back as Lady Stoneheart, and she's like a completely different character. She's like a zombie for a start. Jon Snow comes back,
and he's still Jon Snow.
He's the exact same. And so what was the point?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I think they needed to do one more shock because they were just like, well, where can we go from here? Let's give everybody a false hope to make them think that the only character that they kind of like is still here.
That's the thing. It was a shock in terms of it being bad. It wasn't a shock in terms of like, I can't believe they done that. It was more me going, oh my god, they killed Jon Snow. Oh, he's back. Okay, what was the point?
There were still good moments in season 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah. Season 5, I think that was when they started doing the whole Sand Snake arc.
Yeah.
Which was really boring, but there was good moments. And then I think it was season 6 we had the whole Sparrow arc where they take over King's Landing, which was enjoyable.
Yeah, that was good. I liked the whole religious sub arc that had this weird religious cult leader.
Yeah, it was interesting. Definitely.
And then Cersei gets her power over him by using just the fact that she's an insane queen just to take over and be, I am the ruler of all this. Your words,
yeah.
And then blown up even her own deranged sister just so that she could prove her point. Yeah. It's like fucking hell.
Those seasons didn't quite feel the same, but I still enjoyed them for what they were. They were still very cinematic and entertaining. But season 8 has been a whole new kettle of fish.
Here we go.
So before I start ranting about all the negatives, I do want to get into the positives of the season because there has been some.
There has been some good things to happen in season 8.
So the main one, obviously, this has been through all the Game of Thrones, but the cinematography is amazing. Every 2 seconds, I see a shot, and I'm like, that would make an amazing desktop wallpaper.
Yeah.
That's a sign of good cinematography. Like the scene in the last episode we saw where Daenerys is on the big stairs at King's Landing and you see the dragon wings. I know.
That was so cool.
She looks like an angel.
A demented angel, but it was so cool.
Sociopathic angel.
Yeah, and that was good. I like that.
We had all the cool battle scenes at King's Landing, and when the dust was falling down from obviously all the fire breath.
And then it was all it looked like snow, and it was just coming down.
So the cinematography's always been good. Of course, you could argue with the budget the show's on that good cinematography is the least we expect when you're $1 billion show, but you still have to get it done. It still deserves praise. Obviously, the music was really good as well. Game of Thrones has always had really good music, really good at building tension and atmosphere, even if that tension ultimately goes nowhere. But still, give it credit.
The cast was a strong point. You got to give credit to the cast in some areas.
The cast did the best they could do with that script. I'll say them that. Peter Dinklage, amazing as usual.
He can never do no wrong.
That man can act. That last season there was some really good emotional scenes with him.
When he comes across Jaime and Cersei's dead bodies, man, you felt it.
The guy who plays Jaime.
Yeah,
Nicholas something.
Nikolai Wood.
Nikolai,
I know who you mean.
Yeah, he was really good again. I mean, Cersei did. The actress for her did a really good job. There was a lot of seasons where she was just staring out a window, and apparently she was getting paid $1 million for those episodes. But
if you want to pay me £1 million just to stare at a window, I'll do it for the rest of my life.
Easiest job in the world.
Right?
Do you think Sean Bean's just sitting at home like, damn,
I died in the
they
first
killed
season.
me off. I could have been a billionaire. Instead, I only got 10 million.
I don't know. I think he's kind of happy with what he got. I mean, he's part of a legacy. He's part of 2 fantasy legacies now.
Yeah, he got out of the show at a good time.
Yeah,
let's give him credit. So the other positives, like I mentioned, the tension and build-up scenes, especially during the battles, are really good. They really make you feel that some important characters are going to die. And then, of course, it goes nowhere. But you got to give them praise. The build-up's really good. The music, the pacing, scenes like that. Basically, the scenes where there's no story to be told is when the season
just
fries.
the visuals. Just a camera guy having fun one day, wanting to test out a shot.
And also, another positive, and it's strange that this is a positive in the final season because this should be a positive near the start. But when the season tries to be funny, it's really funny.
Yeah, the humor in the show really does work out well. I think because the tension was so built up that if you watched too much of it, you were going to snap. Mm-hmm. So whenever there was a comedy moment, you were just kind of like, "Oh, thank God, something funny happened."
Yeah, whenever Tormund's on screen, he just steals the show.
Love Tormund
I
so
love
much.
The episode as well after the Battle of Winterfell, where they're all getting drunk and it's just a comedy episode for half of it.
I felt so bad for him when Brienne went for Jaime and his actual heart got broken because I actually did want to see him get with the big woman.
He took it like a champ, though.
No, he is a lad. He took it well. He got heartbroken, but he was just like, you know what? I can move on from this.
He could have been very salty about that.
But he wasn't.
Very well.
He's a true man.
And then my final positive point. I mean, there's silly ones like obviously Sansa's very attractive, but I can't really use that as a positive point. But so my final positive point, serious one anyway, is there was some really touching, emotional moments in this episode. A lot of them featuring Tyrion. In the season, sorry. So, for example, when he's freeing Jaime, and you could tell that was like a final farewell.
Yeah,
that was a really good.
That
scene.
was a lovely scene. I like that scene.
And then when he finds obviously his brother and sister's dead bodies, that was a really good scene. I don't understand how their bodies weren't completely crushed by the rubble. Like they were in really good shape considering the whole ceiling fell on them. But
plot armor.
Well, dead plot armor. They're dead.
Yeah.
But still. A really the emotional scenes when it's not focusing on too much story and it's just focusing on these two characters' relationships. I think that's when this season was at its best, probably when it's trying to be emotional.
Yeah,
unfortunately, there were enough of those. But yeah, another problem I've got, and this is more a problem with the series as a whole now, is that if you go and watch season 1 now after watching season 8. A lot of it's going to be ruined because they do the whole winter is coming. We're going to have this massive battle and these evil creatures are going to come and destroy everything. And you're just like, well, yeah, that doesn't happen, does it? So this season has, and I'm not going to say it's completely ruined the old seasons, but for me it has in a way. Because I can't go back to them now and be like, oh, I'm excited for winter. Because it's just going to lead to nowhere, and it's...
Yeah, there's no rewatchability that comes from these episodes of Game of Thrones now. I think Season 8 has pretty much destroyed any chance of me going back to rewatch them all again. Like, if I was to rewatch Seasons 1 through to 5 and just enjoy it as they are, I will do, and then just stop when it gets to 6, 7, and 8. I could probably do that. But, yeah, Season 8 pretty much was like... It was kind of like going, you know how we started here? well, we're going to go all the way around to get back to all the way to the beginning again.
Yeah.
And that's what season 8 felt like.
Maybe that was what they were going for, but it's very rushed, very unsatisfying.
Well, like, realistically, it shouldn't have been one whole season.
No, it should have been 10 episodes at the very least. Personally, I think they could have done another season.
Yes, I was all for another season. I think they put too much on the plate. There wasn't enough time for them to fully expand on finishing up everything, and they forced it.
Can you imagine if we had another 4 or 5 episodes of Daenerys as actually a mad queen and she's like her dad? That'd be awesome. Instead, she's queen for 5 minutes and you're just like, oh, she's gone.
Yeah, it's an odd little conundrum that we've got there, because on one hand, you know, you've got the great Tywin Lannister, this great character, and he's, you know, like, he's a great star, and you were hoping to see Cersei go more into that direction, and they did try and make her evil, at least for the final parts. But then, you know,
it's just so rushed.
It was rushed, and you could tell that it was rushed. And there were certain episodes that they put so much effort in, and then they went, oh shit, we forgot we're finishing this season. And then they just went, right, just cram it all in, cram. My theory is that because George R. R. Martin hasn't finished the books, and he hasn't worked his way up to the point where we're at now, the writers of the show just had to go, right, let's just finish it as quickly as we can.
Apparently HBO wanted 10 seasons, and the writers just said no. So HBO had a proper lifespan for this show, but the writers just wanted to wrap it up and work on that Star Wars trilogy or whatever they're making. So I did actually want to look at the writers, because I keep forgetting their names because they're so forgettable.
How bad do you have to be that you say no to extra seasons and extra money, where you could have spent that time finishing it off, doing the project, but instead you go, no, I want to do the new Star Wars. We'll get to that in a second.
So we look at so the writers are called David Benioff, I don't know how you pronounce
David
that,
Benioff, okay.
and D.B. Wise.
Sure.
So you look at the films they've written, and I don't know. So they wrote the terrible X-Men Wolverine movie. I'm not talking about Logan. I'm talking about the one before that. They wrote Troy.
Oh.
So why were these people chosen to write Game of Thrones?
Oh.
Of all the writers, you get 2 writers who have done a bunch of bad movies. Like, have you seen The Kite Runner?
No, I've not seen Kite Runner.
Have you seen? That's about it.
I mean, I have seen the Wolverine film, the first one with Ryan Reynolds' early version Deadpool. Glorious schlock. I think it's great.
What film is this, Brothers?
Was
that? Okay, so they did one film that was kind of well received.
Which
one? That's the one with. Is that the one with Tobey Maguire? Brothers.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Tobey Maguire, Jake. Okay, so he wrote one decent film, but still, look at this fucking portfolio here. None of these are films or TV shows that you would expect a Game of Thrones writer to write. And I know it's good to give like young upcoming writers a chance with like big shows, but I don't understand why they were chosen, to be honest. I would choose someone who actually has experience writing fantasy.
Well, you could tell, like, I mean, they were fans of the novel, and you could tell that there was a good fandom for the Game of Thrones novels. They want to be loyal to the books as much as they possibly can.
I'll give them credit. They did a good job adapting the older books.
Yeah.
But I mean, how difficult is that? You literally just have to copy it and make sure it fits into an episode.
Not quite, because you have to remember, like, this is George R. R. Martin that we're talking about here. Have you ever read the Game of Thrones book?
I read about the first one.
Right, okay, so as you know, that there's more than it's more than just, okay, there's layers. He has structure to all of it. He has details that go out for every single situation. And he gives you the backstory on everything that goes on in that situation in hand, because he cares about the characters. He cares about details, and he cares about what the characters are about in that situation.
I get that, but I think any writer worth their salt should be able to adapt any book to TV. That should be the first thing you're able to do as a writer.
You got to remember, George R. R. Martin did not intend for this to get adapted. Most writers, when they write something, they write it so that it's completely unfilmable. You cannot imagine a situation. J.R.R. Tolkien never thought in a million years that Lord of the Rings would ever become a thing. But he didn't anticipate that Peter Jackson, years later down the line, would adapt it into being this massive epic fantasy franchise. With George R. R. Martin, he was the same. He was just like, I didn't expect it to become a TV show.
Yeah. I did want to ask you, actually, and you might not like this question. Do you think George R. R. Martin is partly to blame for how this season has turned out, or do you place all the blame solely on these 2 writers?
Nah, it's a bit of both.
Yeah, I think
it's a bit of both. Like, because
criticism.
on one hand, George R. R. Martin's not finished the books, and he can take as much time as he wants to do the books. I don't care, but like at the same time, you could have finished them, and we could have had the series. We could have had all that. I mean, I'm not saying that George R. R. Martin's my bitch, but I'm just saying that he could have done it in a space of time. On the other hand, the other 2 guys, they could have just went, let's just take our time. We'll do the 10 seasons. and finish it out.
Even get some help from other writers.
Get
They tried
help
to
from
do
other writers, yeah.
everything themselves with this
And-
massive project, and it's bound to fail.
It was never like they just over exceeded what they were what they were capable of doing, and because of that, the results show, and it's sad.
I do think you have to give him a little bit of blame. One, because he couldn't write a single book in 7 years, and I mean, J.K. Rowling, as much as we might not be fans of her, managed to write 7 books in 10 years.
Well, she started she wrote the last chapter of the last book first, so that
She
knew,
planned ahead.
yeah, she knew what she was doing. Like that was her structure. She wanted to go for that. Granted, I'm not a fan of the Harry Potter novels, and never
Yeah.
will be. But like she at least knew how to plan it out. But with George R. R. Martin, you got to remember, like he was disillusioned by Hollywood, and he hated Hollywood, and he wanted to get back out into writing books.
Yeah, he sold the love of his life to Hollywood, essentially.
Well, like, he sold the love of his life because it was going to help. Like in my opinion, I think it was going to help precedents to sort of push for the next books. I got into an
That
argument.
didn't happen.
Like, I got into an argument with a guy at a pub one night, and he said, "I'm angry because George R. R. Martin, outside of writing Game of Thrones, was writing other books." And I'm like, "Well, yes, that's his job. He's a writer. He's not here to only write Game of Thrones."
Yeah, that's
Like-
true. I think he's allowed to write other stuff, but when you've made this big series that everyone loves and then you sell it off to HBO for millions or whatever, if it was me and I'd created something like that from my heart, I would want to finish it off so that when it comes to the TV adaptation, it's perfect.
Again, you've got to look at it from how he writes it. You've got to look at all the details that he puts into it. Like, it's not so much like J.K. Rowling. She created one environment, one place, a few set of characters, and all this sort of stuff.
Harry Potter is easier to write than Game of Thrones, but I don't think that's...
It's the same with Tolkien, though. Like, I mean, come on, like, you look at the whole that thing. He created a whole universe. That's what George R. R. Martin did. He created a whole universe within itself. He created its own rules and the systems, which unfortunately they got all forgotten about and destroyed because of the last season. But they all relied on something. There was there was a build up to all of that. Whereas with like what he does now, he can he was writing he was writing a book before he got into Game of Thrones. He was writing a science fiction novel called Avalon, and then he just got the idea to write Game of Thrones out of his head like that. And when he realized it was going to become a thing, that's when he had to start thinking about the details and the layers and the characters and the structure. So
don't get me wrong, I'm not saying writing books is easy, but no Game of Thrones books in 8 years is... I don't know. I think he could have made one, but maybe that's...
he's still working on one.
Maybe we'll get them one day, but he's 70 now. He's got to hurry up before he...
People say this about him, and he got
Nice.
pissed off about that. Like,
I think it's a valid point.
but like at the same time, you can't. I mean, Neil Gaiman wrote a post saying George R. R. Martin is not your bitch.
He's not.
And like at the same time, you don't rush somebody. Like the example of things being rushed to hurry up is the example of season 8 that we've got now. And I don't want to see George R. R. Martin
He's not been rushed.
writing a
He's had-
series 8.
He's
of
had
what-
8 years.
But we're getting to that point. We're now getting vocal about it. We've now got fan websites. We've now got petitions online to make George R. R. Martin hurry up and finish these books. And
I'm
that.
just saying, in the long run, or in the short term, in the most simple, basic terms, if he had finished the books, season 8 would have been better, and that's my point.
Yeah,
so,
I
so
get
he
that.
has to take some blame. Maybe not all of it, but he has to take some. Anyway, I want to get into the actual last episode that we saw last night. Talk about the characters a bit because we haven't really done that. So one character I've hated from probably about the middle point of the season is Grey Worm. He has done. We say Daenerys has done a 180. He's done a complete 180. I used to love this guy, and he's horrible now. I hate him.
Yeah, well, he kind of went back to being a soldier.
He's just so blindly loyal to his clearly sociopathic evil queen, and maybe he's always been like that. But surely there'd be a point in your brain where you'd be like, "This isn't right."
Yeah, but at the same time, you got to remember he is 100% loyal to his queen. So even the sociopathic side of him will just be like, "No problem, queen. You
He
got
was
it."
always loyal, but he was a good person, and it feels forced to me.
That, and remember, they did kill his girlfriend.
Oh, they killed my girlfriend, so I'm going to murder innocent soldiers who could easily just be prisoners. I don't buy
Rage. They got lost in rage, man.
it. I don't buy it. I'm
Hate
sorry.
leads to suffering, as Yoda once said.
I want to talk about how in the previous episode it was summer, and in this episode it's suddenly winter in the space of 5 minutes.
Because winter was coming.
Winter came.
Yeah, winter totally came.
Well,
Well, you
why-
gotta remember, like,
And then at the end of the episode it goes again.
Yes.
I don't understand.
well, like it was. I kind of saw that as a months that went by sort of thing. Maybe Jon Snow brought the winter with him.
I think they were going for the dark weather tells a dark mood. But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you have to back it up with actual evidence. It just doesn't just come and go like Nothing.
I don't know.
Unless they've set it in Scotland, then it makes sense.
I wasn't complaining about that. That was the least of my worries
It's
in
a
that
nitpick.
episode.
It's
Like,
a nitpick.
that's just a nitpick. But everything else in that episode, I have other issues with.
There's a scene where Arya just, when Jon is talking, or when Tyrion's talking to Daenerys on the steps, and then Jon's going to walk to talk to her, Arya just appears again because she can teleport, apparently.
Well, no, you got to remember, like, she's trained to be a nothing, so she just appears.
So she can sneak past hundreds of thousands of guards.
Yes, because that's what she's trained to do.
No,
Like,
there was no way up those steps apart. Right, she teleported. I'm sorry.
No, like, I'm totally for her just being, like, being so quiet that the only thing you can hear coming from her is a drop of blood. It's kind of like, I mean, out of all the scenes that I've seen with Arya so far in this season, I'm okay with her teleporting. I don't want to see her have another sex scene ever again.
I don't want to see her have a spin-off. Our friend was talking about having a spin-off when she goes west of Westeros.
I would like that. I would like to see that. Like, I mean,
I don't want 10 seasons of a character who's covered in plot armor, whose arc has finished. Well, they'd have to introduce new characters to surround her. No, I don't want to see that.
Do you know why she's got such good plot armor though?
I don't know, because the writer loves her. Or something.
No, worse. George R. Martin's wife. That's her favorite character.
He's not even writing the show anymore.
Yeah, but like he made a deal. He made a deal that as long as he was writing the books, nothing bad would happen to Arya Stark because he really loves his wife.
Yeah, I just hate how unkillable. She's covered in plot armor. She should have been dead in the last episode. Literally everyone in the city dies from
Except
the dragon
for Arya
fire,
Stark.
and she's completely fine. And then what was with the horse we saw the last episode?
Yeah,
Completely
where did they
disappeared.
go?
What
Like,
was that? A dream?
Did she get hungry? Did she have to eat the nag? Like was it like?
What was the point? It's like they were starting to write this cool scene, and then halfway through they were like, oh,
You know,
no.
the more you think about it, it actually was really bad this season.
That episode particularly, yeah, this
Yeah.
season was not great.
But you made the mistake of watching it twice.
I did. I watched the last episode twice just so I could have really good notes, and it was very painful. Also, Daenerys says she's going to destroy. Like, if you're going to go mad tyrant, don't go and tell your plans to the people who are standing right next to you and going to stop you. She's like, I'm going to destroy Winterfell. Jon Snow is literally standing right there. The one person, apart from you and maybe Gendry, who's actually got a rightful heir to the throne. And you tell him you're going to destroy his homeland. Like, she was literally asking to get killed. How stupid can you be?
At the same time, you've got to remember, she's lost her mind at this point. She doesn't know what sense is.
She's lost her mind, but she's turned into an idiot.
Yes, that happens with power, Too much power corrupts the mind.
It does, but it also doesn't happen in the space of 3 episodes.
But again, I don't know, they forced it. They built up for this too much.
Did.
I did think for a long period of time that there was going to be a point when Daenerys was going to go insane and just start killing everybody with dragons.
I don't have a problem that it happened. I have a problem with the execution and how it was so rushed. I think we needed a whole season of her turning properly crazy.
I would have just liked to have seen more time put into all of this, because you could tell there was good ideas there. You could tell that this was all based on a first draft.
Yeah, that's my problem with the season. Is there is hope there. If the writing was good, this would have been an amazing season. One of the scenes that was really sad was when Drogon basically finds Daenerys and she's completely dead, which was somehow more sad than when Jon actually killed her. So you're doing a good job when the CGI dragon is better at emotionally affecting your viewers than the actual cast.
I didn't mind that scene. I like the fact that the dragon literally destroys the Iron Throne.
It makes no sense though. He's a dragon. He's never seen that throne before. He doesn't know what it stands for. Why would he destroy it?
I don't know. It's like the sense of power, because
he's a dragon.
But yeah.
So to me, it makes no sense.
I don't know. I kind of liked it. There was a sympathetic side to it. He saw what was going on with the Iron Throne. He saw how everybody was fighting for it, and he just thought, you know what? Fuck this. This thing just killed my mum. I'm blowing the shit out of it.
What do you think he does with Daenerys' body?
I don't know. Probably just leaves it preserved.
Well, he buries her.
Yeah,
with his claws.
Yeah. Why the fuck not? I don't know. I'm not a dragon.
Yeah. There's also a scene where Jon and Tyrion are speaking, and Daenerys just lets Jon and Tyrion, the one man who's betrayed her, and the other heir to the throne who could betray her, she just lets them have a talk in the prison cell. Like, Daenerys, if you're gonna go tyrant, do it right.
It didn't make sense that the fact that the only place that they could really hold them prisoner was just a normal room. They didn't have a normal prison because she literally destroyed the whole of King's Landing, so there was
biting
no
her
place
in
for
the
them to
ass.
visit.
Yeah, and then also that scene, Jon's still justifying that she killed the women and children, and I'm like, how stupid can you be?
Again, my theory, it's the boyfriend, your girlfriend's cheating on you theory. When your best friend comes up to you and goes, hey man, your girlfriend's quite clearly cheating on you. No man, I love her, you don't understand. No, dude, seriously, she sucked dicks last night. Like, it's that sort of feeling. You're so mad in love with this thing that you can't look past the fact that she's doing awful things because you love her so much.
There's cheating and then there's burning women and children, though.
That's Game of Thrones context, though.
It's more the fact John tries to justify it by saying, oh, they killed her dragon, they killed her friend. Okay, so they killed one person you love and your pet. So you're going to burn women and children. And you're going to use those reasons to justify it? No.
I don't know. Jon Snow's always been a bit of a bland character for me.
He's very dumb. I guess that's why you know nothing, Jon Snow.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah, so then after that, we get into the whole scene where they are sitting around and basically choosing a new king. What did you think of that scene as a whole? It was very long.
It was a bit too long. It was all the main cast as well, so that was just a bit like, oh well, and there's no surprises here. The only thing that caught me off guard was when Tyrion, throughout the entirety of the show, who's been defending Jon Snow and all this sort of stuff, so you just think, you know what, let Jon Snow be the rightful heir to the throne because he deserves it. You're just like, okay, here it comes.
You mean Bran?
No. Then he goes, let's give it to Bran.
Yeah.
What? And like, but it's just kind of like, okay, so he's going to give it to Bran.
The one character who hasn't done anything for like 3-4 seasons.
Even
then it was all Hodor. Let's make him king.
Yeah, I just love the fact that when he goes, "Will you be up for being king, Bran?" And he just goes, "Why do you think I came here?" And it's like,
yeah, he's like 1 minute Sansa's like, "Oh no, Bran doesn't want to be king," and then he's like, "Actually, I really
do.
Can see everything.
I can see.
If you could see everything,
why did you let all these people die?
Why did you not kill the crazy king, Bran?
Why did you not say to Jon Snow, "Hey, Jon, listen, I know you're about to go off and do this battle, but if you just wait for like 2 minutes." Everything should be completely fine.
The fact is, as well, Grey Worm is completely cool with it. This is the brother of the guy who murdered his queen, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
Make her queen. Make him king.
Yeah.
My queen's dead to me."
Yeah.
And they let Tyrion do the interview. He's the prisoner.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense. Grey Worm is just going from one place to the other. He's like, "Oh, I don't care. Oh, I do care about my queen. No, I don't care." I think having that time skip as well, I was not a fan of it. So.
Oh yeah, it took like a month, wasn't it?
Daenerys dies, and then we don't get to see any of the reaction from the Unsullied or Grey Worm or Tyrion. We don't get to see what happens to Jon. It's just okay, a month forward.
Again,
Daenerys is dead.
it was just forced. They just had to finish
absolutely
it. They
forced.
had to get it done.
I did like the scene where Samwell basically wants to create democracy, and they all start laughing at him. That was kind of funny.
And then. But like, yeah, that was an okay scene. But then, like, the only scene in the show in this episode that pissed me off right to the nth degree was near enough the end, because we get a whole. Remember, this has been 2 years in making this. We get a whole scene where Tyrion does a funny scene with chairs around the table.
Oh god, you choose to have long, drawn out scenes when there's no story to be told. Let's just slow the pacing down so we can have a comedic moment in the final episode. Why don't we have more development of Daenerys? Oh.
Yeah, and then we get this point where
is this the book?
It's the book. It's like, remember, I should point out, before we watched the episode, I ironically made the joke at the beginning of the show. As a joke, I ironically said, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if it turns out all the time the book that they were writing was just the Game of Thrones series?" As in a reference to the end of Lord of the Rings, when Frodo is literally writing in the book Lord of the Rings underneath the Hobbit's tale. As a joke, I just said, wouldn't that be funny? And then when Sam comes into the book and hands it to Tyrion, and it opens up and he says, "We've called it a song of fire and ice," ice and fire. Just like, piss off. Are you fucking kidding me?
Let's just break the fourth wall. Why not? That'll be fun, guys.
Why stop there? Why not have... And here's the maester that wrote this book. And then walks George R. R. Martin walking with a Sinclair C5 on top of his gut.
To be honest, I was very surprised that did not happen. But it's probably for the best. Also, why did they make Bronn Master of Coin? The guy who spends all his money on prostitutes and has like backstabbed all the characters like numerous times. They make him Master of Coin.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care because he had to get that island from Tyrion, didn't he?
Yeah, he had to get the promise of the land so that he would get it.
So maybe that entitles him to be Master of Coin, but I don't care. That was dumb. That was so stupid.
And making Jon Snow forced to go back to Night's Watch. Like, what the fuck are they going to watch? There's nothing to look out for.
I think he leaves after there, but yeah, it's such a strange decision, especially because Grey Worm's leaving anyway. So why does he care?
Yeah, like, you know, if Grey Worm was going to be leaving to go to another place, surely.
Why does he care that John's at the Night's Watch? I don't understand.
It's not. Like, do you think Grey
It's
Worm's
just like he was just like,
Do you think Grey Worm's just going to visit the Night's Watch every periodically, like once a month, just being
John,
just making sure you're here,
are
John?
you working hard? Are you killing White
Are
Walkers?
you killing White Walkers?
There's none left.
There's none left. There's none left. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Oh, fuck off. Like, you know, like it was. It just felt forced. I mean, I was glad to see Tormund in the end.
Yeah, we get to see Tormund. John pets his dog, which was
Pets his ghost.
almost enough to save the episode.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Because I know a lot of people were really pissed off about the whole ghost thing, but then when he came back and he pets, I was like, justice for Ghost! Like, you know, like
Yeah, it's
that poor wolf.
it's just felt like, because if you look at it, how many of all the characters that survived, I think pretty much 95% of them were like morally good characters that needed to get redemption.
Yeah.
How many like sort of leaning towards evil characters could you say? You could say Grey Worm, but he's done a complete 180. Maybe Bronn.
Yeah.
Is that it?
It's like when there's that line in the epic rap battles of history of Martin versus Tolkien, and Martin says as a diss, "Oh, your bad guys dying, your good guys survive," and then you're kind of like, well, too soon. Like, you know,
And
like,
Game of Thrones was always a show that I thought was against that. It was like so realistic and gritty, and it felt like anyone could die at any point.
and anybody could be a villain.
So for it to just turn into this cliche Hollywood, oh, the good guys win, all the bad guys die, it's not how I wanted to see the show go. I wanted a more bittersweet ending, and we just got a generic happy ending.
I would have been happy if it ended on a sour note. Like, I would have
like have happy elements. Don't make it a depressing ending. But
yeah.
make it a little more bittersweet.
Yeah, like, you know, like sort of like if you look at the ending of Hamlet, everybody dies, sort of like that. So I would have like not to that extent, but I would have liked to have seen something in that vein.
Will you be able to rewatch this show now, like ever? Or is that you done with Game of Thrones?
Probably not.
I
don't think. I'll read the books. I'm gonna buy the books. I said to you last night that I'm gonna buy the books just because I'm gonna read all the books and get that out of the way and sorted. But in terms of rewatching, it's not like say, okay, so we rewatched The Lord of the Rings last year. We rewatched all of them, extended cuts because we're not idiots, and you know, like there's still enjoyment in that. We know what was coming, but we were still enjoying where the show was going or where the film was going in. With Game of Thrones, now that we know where it got up to, it just doesn't feel quite right to go back through it all over again. I mean, I'll happily watch the scenes of Tyrion being badass. I'll happily watch Davos being a great man. I'll happily watch Melisandre's sex scenes because I'm in love with Melisandre, Carice Van Houten, beautiful woman. But like, other than that, there is literally nothing that makes me want to go back.
Especially
and Game of Thrones.
when you know it has such a disappointing payoff. Like, why would you go back and watch it?
Yeah.
I would maybe go and watch the original 4 seasons, maybe 5, and then just call it there. But I'm not watching the whole thing. I can't.
Yeah, I would watch seasons 1 to 4 as well, but I'm not going to go
Too
all the way through
much
it.
disappointment and heartbreak.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. Like, I mean, like, they should have taken their time. They should have just like said, "Fuck it, we'll do 10 seasons and then we'll break up." But no, these guys were like, "Wait a minute, Star Wars wants us to make a trilogy."
Oh god, they're going to ruin Star Wars too. I mean, Star Wars was already.
As if Star Wars isn't already bad enough. How the hell can they ruin?
That's a topic for another podcast.
That's like, we'll get into that another time.
So, I think I know your answer to this, but of all the characters who are left in the show, who would you say is your favourite?
I'll say it again. It's Davos.
I mean, he has had a consistent arc throughout the whole show.
Yeah,
he
just
can't
wants
deny
to,
that.
He just wants to see the world be a better place, and he's not doing it for fame or fornication or glory. He's just doing it because he wants to be a good guy. And out of all the characters in Game of Thrones that have been fucking bastards, he's the only one you can really trust.
Yep.
So yeah, I was so scared to see Davos die in this season, and he didn't die, and I was so happy for that. Just like over the moon. Obviously, I love Tormund as well.
Yeah, honestly, for me, it's such a difficult question to answer because so many characters have had a complete flip on their character arc, or they've just turned really dumb, like Tyrion, who used to be the smartest. I used to love Tyrion; he was my favorite character. These past few seasons, he's just turned into a complete idiot.
But he knows it. He came to terms with it. Like, he even says that when he's on trial. He says, "I thought I was the wisest man on the planet. I'm quite clearly not."
I know. Obviously, he wasn't as smart as he made out to be, but some of the decisions he made were.
But he was still human.
Or the things he said were just so stupid. So if I had to pick a favorite, maybe this is a stretch. Maybe Sansa. She gets what she wants.
You're only saying that because you fancy.
No. She gets what she wants. She gets to be Queen of Winterfell, even though her brother's the king of the 6 kingdoms.
Yeah,
so why would you want Winterfell to be independent? I don't understand that. But she gets what she wants. She was quite clearly right about Daenerys.
Obviously.
She was right about a lot of things. She's had quite...
To be fair, Robert Baratheon was also right about Daenerys.
It was. I mean, I think everyone, and Ned Stark as well in season 1 was probably right about her.
I'm just glad we don't have to see Jon Snow or at least Kit Harington look like he's holding a fart on camera.
I don't want to be too mean. I don't really like him as an actor. I think he's very bland. Maybe that's the character. He doesn't have much of a personality for me. I guess there's the whole nothing Jon Snow, so they want him to be quite a blank slate.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a fan. I wasn't a big fan of him.
No.
So my final point, like, what would you, if you had to rate this season out of 10, what would you give it? And then give me your rating of the series as a whole now.
Okay, right.
So season 8 first.
So just season 8 in general.
Just on it, like if you just watched it.
Yeah, I would say it's like a 5.
5
or a 6. Like nowhere. Like when you're looking at 1, 2, and 3, and 4, you're looking at a solid 9 out of 10. You know,
well, maybe a 10.
If 10, 5, 6, 7, you're looking at 8, 7.
7, 8,
yeah. And then you get to the final season, you're just like, oh man,
yeah.
Like, it just dropped so many.
For
balls.
me, honestly, and this might be a little harsh, I'm gonna give it a 3.
Oh come on!
Honestly, this was the biggest TV show of all time, and for it to end like this is just painful. I'm not even angry. I just feel like I've had my heart broken. So many stupid decisions in the plot, and so many characters just acting stupid, and such an unsatisfying ending. It's a 3 for me. And if I had to rate the whole series now as a whole now, it used to be like a 9 or an 8 or 9, and I would say it's like a 6 or 7, and that really sucks because this was probably my favorite live action TV show after Breaking Bad, and now it's just gone way down.
Yeah, we need something new to watch. Something that's consistent, something that makes sense, and something that keeps going. And I will say one thing about Game of Thrones before we end up. Regardless of how this last season fares out, and then regardless of how your personal feelings towards it, whether you've signed the fan petition online to get it remade,
oh yeah, the petition,
or and also you're kind of angry about it, the show deserves respect because it's broken new ground in terms of fantasy for television. Because if Lord of the Rings broke the mold for fantasy in cinema, Game of Thrones broke for fantasy in television, and as much as it's kind of petered down now, you've got to hand it to that. It took a risk, and not a lot of people would have ever been like, let's give Game of Thrones a TV show. And they did.
I'll always love the old seasons with all of my heart. This could have been, the season could have been a 1 out of 10. I'll still always love those old seasons and the memories I had with them and just discussing them with all my friends and stuff.
Yeah, I'll still happily enjoy talking about what Game of Thrones meant to me at the time, sharing pictures of the Hound's face on a KFC bucket, because he really wants chicken.
Yeah. I liked it so much I bought this stupid t-shirt.
I like it so much that I got as a Christmas present from from a friend of mine, a Baratheon notebook, and I still write in it. And I plan on getting the Frost Giant one because it looks really good.
Yeah. So maybe the spin-off will be really good. I doubt it, but you never know. Who knows?
I like how they're willing to do a spin-off but not finish the whole series.
Yeah, it's a bit depressing.
That's kind of sad.
So I think we should wrap this up before it gets too depressing. So what would your final rating for the series as a whole be now? 7 or an 8? Or
7 out of 10.
7, yeah, I think that's fair. Just because this season's had such a negative.
I mean, I'm not going to go back and rewatch it. I can't.
Yeah.
I've got other things to do. Like, I'm not going to dedicate myself to an entire rewatching of it.
Yeah, you don't want to put yourself through that pain all over again.
No,
it's like scrolling for your ex's photos. Just don't do it.
Unless
don't do it, guys.
Unless I look really good in an image in it.
Maybe. But anyway, so thank you for watching, guys. If you're watching this on Facebook, please check us out on YouTube. It'll be youtube.com/The Unpopular Opinion Podcast. There'll be a link in the description. So if you could subscribe to us on there, that would really help us out. And if you're watching on YouTube, please check us out on Facebook as well. And we will have a new podcast for you very soon. So thank you for watching, guys.
Also, if there's anything that you would like us to talk about, if you want to hear us have an opinion on anything regarding it being pop culture related, human related or anything like that, leave it in a comment below. We'll choose our favorite suggestions and we'll get through it and we'll have an opinion on that, and we'll hopefully have another episode like that for you coming up.
Definitely. Thank you for watching, guys.
Ta-da!